I was scrolling through my Instagram profile and I saw this Vellakara Yoga Akka talk about the importance of the deep squat yoga position. Number language la kutta vechu okkaradu. Shri, can you share how it is called in Sanskrit?
It's called Malasana.
Malasana.
And it's basically how we go and squat in an Indian toilet. And it is something that I learned in my prenatal yoga because they said that gravity assisted birth is done when you're practicing this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now let's get into the squat.
Yeah. So I'm also timing us, okay, va?
Go ahead. I have done this, Ben. I have done this.
Oh, the namaste position area. Super.
Yeah. That's how you have to like push your knee out and make sure that your back is straight.
Okay. My back is straight. Oh, so why we're doing this is because in that particular post, a lot of Indians were flaunting about how this is a norm in India. And I felt very guilty. I'm like, dude, I am from India. I can't be in this post for like 5 minutes and all. So I just wanted to take this up to see how long we can last. So Shri, we shall continue our introductions from here. And let's see who calls quits when.
அப்ப இது இன்ட்ரோடக்ஷன் இல்லையா?
Hey, உன்னோட introduction, Shri.
Oh, sorry.
Shri, let me introduce you. I know you're popular, but I'm not sure if you're that popular.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Please introduce me. Let people think I'm an idiot.
So this person right here is an anchor. She was an RJ. And she has produced a show that is on MX Player called The Dollhouse Diaries. And what I really love about her is that she's this fabulous combination of both creative energy and managerial energy. She can create content as much as she can manage and execute the creation of the content. Okay, my thighs and my calves are killing me, dude. I call quits. She wins. I have lasted 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Hey, I'm proud of you. That's quite a good start.
Like I have not been in the Malasana before. Oh,
Shri. That's why Indians were telling that we've been doing this all the time. This is so natural to us, Abdin.
I'm not going to pretend. I have been working out quite often, dude. It does not come naturally. Trust me. Don't listen to people like her.
Okay, can I go sit in a place which I assigned for this conversation now?
Go for it. Your connection, I'm waiting for connection. Hi! Hello, how are you doing?
That's definitely not how I would have introduced myself. What?
Exactly how I'd hoped you'd say.
Okay, my next question for you is, what gali do you give people?
What we do first now?
Okay, I asked for pacha honesty.
Pacha honesty.
Pacha honesty is pacha honesty. Welcome to Pacha Honesty with Maxi. So now that you've gotten into your assigned position, I have a very, very important task. This is a ceremony in the show.
Please check out the beautiful painting that I have added to the frame in order to make it aesthetic.
What painting?
No, it is not a very nice painting. Chuck it. Let's go to whatever you were saying.
I mean, from here, I don't even want to talk about how it looks to my eyes. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if I were in person there, I would have loved the painting. Yes, it's gorgeous. So artistic. So yeah, we need to swear our honesty in.
Oh yes, let's do this.
Yes. நான் சொல்வதெல்லாம் உண்மை.
நான் சொல்வதெல்லாம் உண்மை. ஏன் இப்படி கொஞ்சம் சொல்ற? ஓத் தானே. நான் சொல்வதெல்லாம் உண்மை தவிர வேற எதுவும் இல்லை. இதெல்லாம் லட்சுமி ராமகிருஷ்ணன் மேம் கிட்டே கத்துக்கிட்டோம் போதி.
Is it? Does that show have such an oath?
No, man, I'm just kidding. The name of the show is சொல்வதெல்லாம் உண்மை.
Yeah, just like did you see my face? I'm okay. I'm very politically correct. I'm not gonna say anything. So, how do you presenters wear so many different clothes with all the different episodes that you do? how do you all manage it? எனக்கு 4 எபிசோட்க்கு மேலேயே என்ன போடுறதுன்னு தெரிய மாட்டேங்குது. How do you all manage so many different looks and styles? Like, what's the hard work behind it?
It definitely is. When you say hard work, I'm very glad that you recognize that it is a lot of work, and I am sure that you came to recognize that once you got into the need for it. You know, but when it comes to clothes, it definitely is very tough to be to source these clothes to make sure that you don't look just like one particular thing. You know, you want to look different. You want your clothes also, like the way you stand and the way what you're wearing, you want that also to be a statement, or at least support your statement. A lot of people in television refrain from wearing stuff which is short, and by television standards, short is something that is knee level. So they don't even like show their legs that much.
Oh yeah,
But
thinking of yeah.
yeah, they wear sleeveless and all that, but then like ana konja short clothes
Amma,
போட்டுட்டா உடனே
I've
வந்து
never
this
seen
is like
Thailand on TV. I just am realizing that. I've not seen
Yeah, so
Thailand,
then-
especially in Tamil channels. Yeah.
yes. So so when I started doing that, it was a bit of a disruption. A lot of people thought that it was not a cultured look, but then there were all these people who would also wear really tight figure hugging clothes and all that, and it would be like busting at the seams and all that, but then that would still be acceptable because it was their conditioning to believe that, you know, skin show is still bad, whereas
correct.
figure show is okay. So
Okay.
everyone has their yeah, everyone has
Understandable.
their space, yeah, and everyone tries to create their own space. So for me, I don't know, I've never been known to play to the gallery per se, so I just went ahead and did what I felt like doing, and eventually people liked me for my personality more than what I was wearing, and it has, which is why, you know, like your social media numbers becomes an uphill climb, because you're not really like giving them something that is easy and acceptable to them. You're giving them something that challenges them a little bit in some ways, but I'm okay with that.
And Shri, um, generally, I'm not sure if that's the majority mindset today, but most parents object when their daughters choose a career with the media, because there's a lot of rumor that goes outside of media about how the industry treats women, and how women are probably manipulated or are prone to harassment within the media industry per se. As someone who's part of the industry, how true is this statement?
Okay, so I want to answer this question in two parts. One is, yes, my parents also had their own misconceptions about how safe it is for a woman in the industry, and when you have a good place to change costumes where people are not going to take advantage of you being not in an official space, you have like a decent space for yourself and all that. With the television industry, and as far as I have worked, I have never been, I've never felt out of place by anybody who is part of the crew or the main team, right? So there have been some people that I have interviewed who are not part of my team, but who are other celebrities, who have made a comment here and there, which I have heard, and I have chosen not to give it too much importance, because
And that's
I
part
don't
of,
want
I
to let
think,
it
any
affect me.
workplace as well.
And that's exactly, so that's part of, I mean, anybody could do that to you anywhere, so that wouldn't come exactly because I am in media or anything. But even when that happens, I've had the support of my team, my co-anchor, who has always said, "Adha kadandhu poidunga, don't let's go away from there, let's not give it any thought, and we go on with the show." So when you say that, you know, that's like your family, that team is like your family, it is very true in the sense that they've got your back. And so I think that in the television industry, sexual harassment per se is a misnomer. I don't know, at least from my experience. Having said that, when people talk about people asking for sexual favors in order to get ahead, right? So I think that you have to blame both the man and the woman, because I feel like a lot of the times we bash the men who ask for it, but we never talk about the women who are willing to do that in order to get ahead.
Hmm.
So imagine there's two situations: one person who is talented and who's presenting herself, another person who's probably equally talented but is also willing to give you a little something extra, which means that for no fault of this person still goes ahead,
Hmm.
right? So
Correct.
do you want to blame the person who is soliciting, or do you want to also blame the person who is partaking in something like this, right? So yeah, go ahead. I
I
see you
mean,
have a counter
what is
question.
very, very interesting about this is I think the man wants something for himself, or it comes from a pure sexual need, maybe. While
Okay.
the person giving the favor comes with
Mhm.
has a need that's more than the sexual need, where I think we're willing to acknowledge the gray there. I'm not saying that it is not wrong. I'm not saying that it is any
Yeah.
less
So
than
my
corruption
point
or
is
bribing.
exactly. So my point is, so you are willing to put it on a scale or a spectrum and say, if it is a sexual need, oh no. But if it is a need that is driven by your dreams and aspirations, oh yes, that's not fair. I
Correct.
mean, it's not fair to you or the person soliciting or the person who is unknowingly getting, the shit end of the stick because somebody else is willing to do this.
Thank you for that gorgeous insight. So these were my two long questions for you. I feel like a teacher these days. I ask my guests long answers and short answers. So the long answer part is over. I'm going to move on to.
Yeah, because when I was answering, I was like, did she say this was rapid fire? Am I taking too long? But then how do I also not answer this in detail?
So the rapid fire is right now. We are moving on to the
Okay.
short answer section. Let's begin. My first question to you is, what is your weirdest trait?
My weirdest trait. Okay, what do you mean by weird? Like, just tell me that first.
Whatever your definition of weird is.
Okay, my weirdest trait is that even today, I don't like to wear too much clothing while I'm at home. For me, I think like when it comes to wearing clothes at home, I don't think I evolved from when I was maybe 5 years old. So I always tell people to let me know in advance if they're going to drop in, because otherwise they're going to be ringing the doorbell for a long time.
I know what you're talking about. What do you do when you need alone time?
So when I need some me time, okay, there are a few things that I do. I used to just take my car out and go off for a drive. It was really nice. It was really nice to do that, and it became really nice to do that even after this lockdown happened, because there was no traffic also. So it was like you could go for a long drive and all that. But cops started getting pissed off with me if I said that I was going on a grocery run every day.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure this is going to
So
warrant
if
a
you
lot
can't
of
go on a
comment.
long drive, no, I was kidding. Okay, I'm taking some creative liberties. I'm a very, very responsible person and all that. But I like to meditate. So if I want some me time, I just put on some meditation on YouTube, and I just close my eyes and I sit there. It's nice. It's a hunky dory time for me.
What's your favorite crazy dance move?
Um.
And you need to
Okay.
show it.
So yeah. Oh God. Okay. So I have this bad habit of dancing like super like local to extremely nice, sweet, melodious songs. Okay. So I would take a song, maybe like a very my husband's laughing over there. I would take a very nice, sweet, romantic song, and then I'd be like, and all that. So
Can you please do a musical demonstration of this, please? Please.
no, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, we move.
உனக்காக வாழ நினைக்கிறேன். Like,
That's so cool. I wanted to put that combination together in my head.
and for no apparent reason, it just happens sometimes.
I am absolutely amazed. One cause that is very close to your heart and you can easily stand up for?
Very close to my heart. So I think education, especially like free education for children, is something that's very, very close to my heart. And time and again, there is another thing that ebbs at me, because you see a lot of these people molesting children, and it scars them for life. So yes, like anything to do with children, I get very worked up very easily. And uh, and yes, I think that we need to have very, very strict laws about child molestation, uh, because they're too innocent. Yeah, they're too small and they're too innocent and they're too powerless, and it's just
Not
not
fair.
right.
One thing that you just wish people will understand.
I wish people would simply understand that somebody's bedroom is their own business, and you shouldn't go around asking people as soon as they are married. Don't go around asking them, "Good news, ah? Hey, good news, ah? Hey, 2 years aiche? Hey, 3 years aiche?" Like, please, hashtag STFU. I think a lot of people take that liberty, and I do understand the joy that a child can bring to your family, but it can bring that joy whenever you want it. You don't have to put it on timetable of 1 year, 2 year, 3 year window and all that. So I wish people understood that.
So, yes, my set of questions for you is over. You can ask one question to me.
As an actor, does it feel invasive when you use your experience or your close one's experience to come up with an emotion? Do you feel like you're sullying that memory, or that, because a lot of people, like, if they have to put themselves in some character's shoes, and they think of something that happened to them or something that happened to their close ones, and they try to work from there to get that expression or that emotion. So do you think that that method actually ends up diluting your sense of self, or your is it an invasion of your privacy in any way?
Somehow, I have never used that method. For me, what I do
Okay.
when I'm working on a particular scene is make that particular situation more real for me. Draw a backstory to that particular situation and make it real in my own mind, and respond to it as much as I can in that moment. And all I do is probably be open for that emotion to get into me, and what happens is what happens. I don't draw from memory, or I don't draw from other people per se. That keeps me sane, and that also brings that certain essence of wonder in performance, because suddenly you don't know where that came from, and it's a very natural response instead of a pre-planned நான் இவ்வளோ அழணும் இந்த இடத்துல நான் இவ்வளோ அழணும் இந்த இடத்துல that the pressure இல்லாம it becomes a lot easy. Okay, so I am excited about this last section because I have been forever curious about what you are going to share with us for us to do this week.
Okay, so this is a physical task that I'm going to give you. All right. So this is because I have come to understand the wonders that the human body can achieve, which is, I mean, if you go to Mahabalipuram and you actually go and pay attention to some of the caves and not just keep staring at the tourists, what happens is you realize that there were a lot of women way back in the 6th century and all that, who had six-pack abs. All right. And today we talk about how tough it is to maintain six packs and everything, whereas, and like a lot of people say that women's bodies aren't made for it. And yes, while that may be true, while our inherent biological the rhythm as well as the kind of skin and tissues that we have there are different. Yeah. Even though it's different, but there were women who had that. So I started doing planks. So my task for you is, every waking hour of the day, all right, so when it hits 1 o'clock, you got to get into a plank for 1 minute, and that's it.
I can handle.
So every waking hour of the day, you will do 1 minute plank, and you will do that for a week, and then you will touch yourself and see.
Wait. 1 minute. Are you telling me 1 minute for every 60 minutes?
Sorry, your connection is like unstable.
Sorry. Are you telling me 1 minute for every 60 minutes?
Yeah. So at the top of every hour of your
Alrighty.
waking
For a week.
cycle. For a week.
I accept
Which is
the
probably
challenge.
going to be at least like 10 minutes of planks every day. And then we'll see at the end of a week how you feel.
Alrighty. So thank you very, very much for being such a lovely guest and being so pacha honest with me. And
I know, I really enjoyed it.
yeah. Oh, by the way, a lot of people have been asking me about my eyebrows, and some people have been wondering if I shaved it off. No, I did
Yeah,
not.
I actually just assumed that you shaved it off because you being you is the most plausible thing that happened. And I just was being very nice by not pointing it out to you because you're the host and all that. So
No, a
I was
lot of
like,
people
okay.
have been messaging me and asking me, "Hey, what happened to your eyebrows? What happened to your eyebrows? What happened to your eyebrows?" I'm like, okay, I need to reassure people. I have not shaved off my eyebrows. One fine day, a part of it just fell off. So I'm going through a bit of treatment, like a kunjam dermatology, kunjam Ayurveda treatment for it to grow back. Fingers crossed, grow back. So yeah, that's the story behind my eyebrows.
See, when everybody else has how do I trim my eyebrows problem, your eyebrows just decide to be a darling and they just decide to shave.
I am not going to talk further about body hair in the right places and wrong places. Sorry. At this note, I thank you all very, very much for watching us. Like, share, subscribe, and click on the bell icon. Ding! Ta-da!
Nicely done.